Are you ready? Stand by.
Welcome to the Three Gun Show, brought to you by Armalite. I'm your host today, Wade Jones, creative consultant and, I don't know, director of video or something, possibly.
Something like that.
Depending on where we're at that day.
Depends on where we need to go and who we need to convince.
I'm the guy that holds the camera at SHOT Show, usually.
And wrangles the guests.
Yes, guest wrangler.
You got promoted to guest wrangler, which is the most important job. And timekeeper. Schedule keeper.
Yes, I do keep the schedule. I don't do the yes thing anymore. We got a guy for that. He's the yes man.
Yep. He's the yep man.
Yep man.
Man.
Today is a very special episode of the Three Gun Show.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm here with my good friend Dave Hartman, and we're going to do a little Q&A today.
Hey, buddy.
Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great, man.
Good. It's good to have you in town.
It's great to be in town. Been here for almost a month. It's nice. We're sitting in your living room. We're doing a little video, so we're going to have a couple promos to cut up or something.
Yep.
Or that video will just go away. I don't know. We got to do something funny. But
get some stills out of it at least. Does it work
excited
that
to be
way?
here, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, me too. It's exciting. So Colorado's changed a little bit since I've been gone.
Yeah. How long has it been?
Let's see. So I guess like the last time I was here for an extended period of time was November, maybe.
Okay.
And then I was back once, so pretty much like 7-8 months.
November was when you're back here and we did the podcast, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's a little different.
Yeah.
It's amazingly different in 8 months.
Dang, like so many buildings have gone up and stuff, and excuse me, I forget about traffic.
Oh, yeah.
That Denver traffic.
It's redunk.
It is. It's oddly good to be home, though. Got a little choked up when I saw Pikes Peak when I was coming up over the hill.
Did you?
Yeah, on the outskirts of Nebraska / Denver, or / Colorado, I mean.
Oh, yeah. You could see it from Nebraska?
No, but what I'm saying is like the border.
Jeez.
When you're on your way from Nebraska to Colorado.
Yeah.
And then there's like the hill that you climb up because it's like uphill all the way from Des Moines basically to Colorado.
Right.
But you come up over this hill, and that's like the first time you can see Pikes Peak,
Gotcha.
And then there's a couple hours later you can see the Front Range and stuff, and each time it was like, oh, this is nice. I remember this, and kind of appreciated it through fresh eyes.
Good. What else has been happening? What have you been up to in the last few days?
Last few days been doing a lot of video editing.
Yeah.
Been doing work on the rifle, getting ready for the Wyoming Governor's match, which is going to be a good time.
That'll be fun.
And, dude, here's a fun thing that happened yesterday. So we didn't get a chat yesterday. Yesterday gave away that Breda shotgun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you were there at SHOT Show. We went and talked to Jeff at Breda.
Yep.
Cool dude, right?
Very cool.
Nice shotguns. He took us down to the floor and showed us the shotguns. Good stuff. And so Jeff actually gave us a Breda shotgun, a Breda B12i, which is their 3-gun ready shotgun, to demo at the Colorado 3-gun championship, which was just a couple weeks ago, at the shotgun side match that the 3-gun show was hosting.
Right.
So it was open to the public, and we had the ability to loan out that shotgun for people to shoot that weren't 3-gun competitors, right? And so they can shoot like the beginner stage and get like a taste of what we do in practical shooting.
How many people did the side match?
There was like 130 people at the side match.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And that was getting rained out the first day at, I think it was like 3 o'clock or something. So we had probably another 5 hours of daylight, and just after that, after it started raining, just everyone was gone, even when it was cleared up, which is kind of a bummer, when you're trying to do a fundraiser like that. But it turned out okay. 130 is pretty strong for just a side match.
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
It was great.
Yeah.
So check this out. So because I don't remember what it is, like 922R or something like that. It's like a shotgun importation, something or other.
Sounds familiar.
So they have to ship the Breda 3-gun shotgun with like a 4-round tube, right?
Yeah, it's a import
Yeah, yeah.
restriction thing
Because it's an Italian shotgun, right? So I needed to get a tube for that thing so we could run the shotgun side match. So I called up my buddy Lan at Dissident Arms in Houston.
Okay.
And they work closely with Briley Manufacturing, which is like what I consider, like in my head, like I think of them as like a over-under choke company, right?
Okay.
But they're really going strong into 3-gun now. And so they actually like modify Benelli shotguns and I think some other ones as well. But they, Dissident Arms and Briley gave us a carbon fiber extension tube for
Nice.
for this Breda. So it extends it to 12-round capacity. It's an 8-round extension tube, a real nice aluminum nut that goes on the barrel nut. Nice knurling and everything, black anodized, and then on the end is another aluminum piece that's like the cap, and that actually screws off so you can do like an extension if you want to want to get crazy.
Sure.
But man, that thing was so stinking light.
Was it?
It was crazy. I would just hand it to people and they'd be like, whoa, it's one of those where you pick up an empty box and you think it's full.
Right.
And
because it's got the synthetic stock on that and everything. Right?
Well, no, I would hand them the tube itself.
Oh, just the tube.
Yeah, just the tube by itself. Yeah, before I put it together with the shotgun. But it made when I did finally put it together, it made it handle really well. It was nice to swing around, stuff like that. They also gave us like a charging handle for it, like a little bolt handle. That's I got to pick the color. I was going to go with pink for a joke, but I went with.
Should have. I totally would have.
You did. Tell that story in a minute. We went. So I went with green anodized because the Breda B12I engraved on the receiver is filled in with green paint. I'm like, oh, that'll match.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It's cool.
So anyway, we had this really cool package because of some industry partners, right?
Right, for sure.
Good people in the industry. And so when it's all said and done, we did a raffle of the Breda B12I shotgun. Only took 3 days to fill all the spots.
Nice.
And a guy named Troy won. Troy Schroeder.
Good job, Troy. Schroeder. Did people get to pick their numbers? How'd that work?
Well, so that's a fun one. So the patrons got to pick their number. Patreon supporters got to pick their own number.
Oh, okay, cool.
Everyone else was just in the order that they came.
Oh.
So Troy just randomly got in. I think he was like number 24 or something like that. There was only 39 spots, and it was like $39 per spot. And then, so for $39, like Troy won this like nice $1,500 shotgun package.
Shipped to his house.
To his
FFL.
Elite Firearms and Training in Colorado Springs is going to be shipping it out to him. And Ava down there is handling the transfer and all the paperwork and stuff for us, which is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Turned out really cool. Like,
good for him.
It's amazing when you have like a vision in your head of something you want to do and something fun. And Kevin and I came up with this way back in December when we were on our way back from Hard as Hell in Utah. Driving back, we came up with this idea, this plan, and then just from the friends that we've made through the show, we were able to put it together.
Nice.
So it was kind of fulfilling to be able to do that, and then send Troy on his way with a brand new shotgun.
So let me ask you this: how did that shotgun run?
Really good.
Did it?
Yeah. So we actually, because we had to pay for ammo, we got the cheapest stuff we could possibly get.
Weird.
I know. I was like, well, I could put my double A's in here. I actually did have like a case of double A's on standby if it didn't like it. But we went up to the clubhouse and got like some estate 1250s. I don't even remember what dram they are because that measurement doesn't mean anything to me.
Right.
But they were like number 8s or something like that. And we put just under 500 rounds through it between all the people that were there. And our buddy Lucas and our buddy Max came down. And so just under 500 rounds on that shotgun. And we had one Malfer, and it was one of those ones where it kind of like short strokes and it catches the hole in the ejection port.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, not bad.
No, not bad. For a shotgun that all I did was take it out of the box.
Throw a tube on it?
Throw a tube on it, cut the spring to I'm sure that's good right there. And throw that charging handle in there. And then I had one of those sample tubes of Lucas Oil that Joe Farewell gave me when I was in Texas. And so I tore that thing open and on the inside smelled like berries and it was ready to rock.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah, pretty good. So that was that's what I've been up to, and that was like a really exciting thing, man. Like when I picked the winner live on Facebook. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh yeah, that's right, because
Yeah.
you were in the group there. So it was cool to do that live and kind of give it like a little bit of anticipation, although it was only like 5 minutes of video or whatever. But then Troy watched that later and got to see himself win. He wasn't able to watch it live.
Nice.
But yeah, it's pretty cool to have all these people participate in it, and then like the exciting thing of like totally changing this dude's day or his week maybe, for Friday afternoon, win a shotguns, good start to the weekend.
Yeah, I'd be plenty happy with that for sure. Can't ask for a better end of it, because that was a great way to end the week.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it made me happy, and I have to give the shotgun to him. So,
Nice.
But I'm kind of thinking like maybe do something again like this in the future. I don't know what, but maybe try to reach out to some industry partners and see if we can put together another prize package. So, if you're bummed you missed out on the Breda thing, or maybe you got in on the Breda thing and you didn't win, let me know if this is something that you want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
And let us know what you'd like to win. What would you like to see out there? Would be good too.
I know a guy who can get Armalite rifles if that's interesting to people.
I bet you do know a guy. I know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah. You know that guy.
All right, good. Well, hey, let's get into some questions here.
Yeah, so what are we doing here?
I'm going to ask you some questions.
Did we mention this is a Q&A episode?
I did at the beginning, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, I know. I mentioned it. It was quick, but yeah, we're going to do a Q&A here. Kind of like the one we did last time. But
yeah. So do you want me to tell you how I got these questions, Wade?
Yeah, why don't you tell us all that?
So Three Gun Talk is a group on Facebook that's run by our buddy Kevin Travis in Colorado Springs.
Mm-hmm.
He started that thing up, and they do a pretty good job of vetting people that they allow in there. So there's groups on Facebook for Three Gun. There's probably like 30 of them.
Right.
But a lot of them just get kind of overrun with rapscallions and people that
Is that what we're calling them now?
undesirables.
I don't think you can you say that?
I think he can.
Okay.
Does that mean something different than what I think it means?
I don't know what you can say anymore.
It's not like I said dirt worshippers or something like that.
Well, now you did.
I was trying to think of Deadwood phrases, but
Hoopleheads.
hoopleheads. There you go. That's what it was.
Bunch of hoopleheads.
Bunch of hoopleheads. So, but anyway, so they do a pretty good job of if someone wants to like talk shit, start shit, stuff like that, you don't stick around very long.
Good.
So
yeah, that's good.
I've done a couple Q&A episodes, one with Rick Birdsall, one with Nick Atkinson, and Three Gun Talk came up with like some pretty good questions for it. So posted in there, said we're going to be doing a Q&A, put it up for the Patreon group, with the understanding that their questions would be asked first, because they're patrons or supporters of the show.
And they're guaranteed to get an answer to any question.
Guaranteed to get an answer too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then sent an email out today to the email list, and
Nice.
got some pretty good responses.
Good.
And you're in charge of the list, so we'll see which ones make the cut.
Well, we might not have time for all, but that said, we have to start with the Patreon question.
Yeah.
Because that's a guaranteed one.
Absolutely.
Oh, man, can I do it bro science style?
Yeah. Sure, dude.
This is from Nat Han Mahoney.
I actually do that when I read the iTunes reviews.
Oh, do you?
Because it's a username, and it's probably a username you picked when you were like 19 and
right.
getting your first iTunes account.
Corvette Dude 38.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. Nathan Mahoney.
Nathan Mahoney,
Nathan Mahoney says
a patron.
he is a patron. What drove your decision to do this full time, and how do you make it work without a steady check from a job?
Oh. I guess I didn't read that whole question when I copied it into that list. So read the first part again.
What drove you? Well, all right, we'll do it two parts.
Yeah.
What drove your decision to do this full time?
A lot of things drove my decision to do this thing full time. One, I really hated my job where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
I was completely unfulfilled. I'd worked there for 8 years, and I was probably pumped about the place for like 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like I was dying in my cubicle, and everything that I loved about life existed outside of work. And then I would actually feel like physically, I would feel myself get tense as I was driving to work. Because so I worked in aerospace, and we had like a gated facility. That was
right. Yeah.
about 2,000 acres. I think it was a little over 2,000 acres.
It's a big place. For sure.
Yeah, there's 60-some buildings in there. It's like a city, right? So you would go to a different city, basically. So you go inside the gate, and then it was built into the mountains because, again, defense contractor, so it was built in the 50s, and it was built in between two mountains. So the idea is if the Ruskies bombed Denver, the nuclear blast would go over and skip all the buildings, right? And we'd still be able to make our nuclear bombs.
Right.
Of course, we didn't make the bombs there. We just made the propulsion systems for the bombs. But that's beside the point. Point is, the place I worked was up on a big hill. So I drove up this hill, and I could feel like as I was driving up the hill, more and more and more tension. And you've got like a knowing look on your face because I've told you this before, and you were there, when I was working at the place. So that was part of it. And then the obvious question is, well, why did you stay? It's like, well, what else are you going to do? You're going to go find another job? And
it's hard to walk away from stuff like that.
Yeah, because it was steady income. It had gotten me, a townhouse, nice pickup truck, beautiful dog.
And working for a place like that's got a certain amount of credibility to it. And
it does, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, especially when you're single and dating, it's like, well, I work at X corporation, or well, I don't have a job.
Yeah.
I talk into microphones in my friend's living room for a living.
I like the second one better.
Well, it's way more fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that kind of drove me to, hating where I was at drove me to think like, well, if I just get another job, I'll probably end up hating that too.
Right.
I want to do something for myself. And I tried to figure out what I wanted to do. So it was a process of figuring out, what do I like to do? What am I good at? And what do I want to be good at?
Right.
Really love 3-gun. There was no podcast in the space at that time.
Well, you had never done a podcast before either.
No, but I had listened to podcasts since like 2005 when I worked at Peterson Fluid Systems. I worked in a machine shop, and I worked with a bunch of dudes that had been in, or were going to be in prison. So,
or were going to be on their way.
Well, you're never really out when you're. Never mind. He might be listening, but sorry, Kenny. But anyway, so the conversation wasn't very highbrow, right? And then we'd listen to KBPI all day long because I got overruled, and we can't listen to. I don't even remember what I listened to at the time, but it's probably some hairband stuff. But KBPI at the time in Denver was just like hard rock, and it was just not my thing. So I bought an iPod, and I bought a book on the iPod, and it was done in 2 days. And I thought, wow, that was $14. I make, I don't know, at the time it was probably like $12 an hour or something.
Right.
It's like, geez, if I go through a book every 2 days, this is going to get expensive. So I tried to find something cheaper or free, right? And so I found podcasts, and podcasts were at like the dawn back then.
Yeah, for sure.
You think you go
12
through
years ago
and listen to podcasts now, and some are terrible? Like, you should have heard them then. That was crazy. So I just started listening to that, and Adam Carolla was one of those podcasts where they just replayed the radio show that he was on.
Right.
And he talks a lot about like how to do comedy while he's doing comedy, which is kind of interesting. And so I kind of like that. But the short story is I listened to podcasts for like 10 years and always wanted to do something with them. I remember when I first heard of them, I went to my buddy Corey at the time. I was like, dude, we should do something like this. And it was just like I can't even remember what the podcast was about, but it was like two dudes, and it's like, we should do that. And
two dudes in a room.
Two dudes in a microphone, and then like the I don't know, one of their episodes they got like hammered and like we're screaming into the mics and stuff. And I learned so much from that I use now. It's like, never ever get hammered on a podcast, never scream into the microphones. Like, that's when I stopped listening to those guys. But anyway, so the point is, like, I've always liked podcasts. I've always wanted to do something for myself. and I really, really love 3 guns. So it was like a cool mixture of many interests at the right time.
Okay, so that's the first part of the question. And then how do you make it work without a steady check from that previous job?
So that's been the tricky part. For sure. That's been the tricky part. So it's mostly savings. I saved a lot before I did make the leap. I also don't have a mortgage. I don't have family.
You sold your house.
Sold my house.
Huh. Sold your house, bought a trailer.
Yeah, sold my house, bought a trailer. Turns out fuel is really, really, really expensive when you're traveling all that time.
Yeah.
Especially when you're towing your house. But yeah, so that's pretty much the short of it. The other part of that is I do get help from companies for like ammunition, right?
Yeah.
And it started out as like sparse and far between. Like, you know, I went to the range with Mark Roth last year, right before 3 Gun Nation Nationals, and I was like, well, where would you buy ammo between here and Virginia? And he's like, well, here, you know, take a couple hundred rounds of this and a couple hundred rounds of this, and so
nice.
He, you know, being a friend, helped me out with ammo for 3 Gun Nation Nationals.
Get you through the next match.
Yeah, and which was totally cool and
huge at the time.
At the time, it was freaking huge for sure. Still is, like, right? I remember that. And the next step up from that is or not step up, but the next step from that over the duration of time is there's other people that have offered me discounts on ammunition, which is great. Cap Arms was really cool. They gave me a discount on ammunition when I purchased some. And then I met their like Texas sales dude when I was at the Vortex Shooter Source match, and he gave me a couple hundred rounds, which is cool. So it's just like a here and there kind of thing.
Right.
And then there's been a bunch of those, and I'm going to feel bad for leaving one out, but you know, a huge one is you guys hear me talking about Armalite on the podcast all the time, where they're part of SAC, Strategic Armory Corporate or Corps. Damn it, sorry, Jeremy. But it's Armalite, it's AWC silencers, it's Nexus ammunition,
right.
Macmillan stock, Surgeon rifles. Is it Macmillan stocks? Let's just go with Surgeon rifles.
Yeah, I know it's Surgeon rifles for sure.
We should look that up. I'll look that up.
I feel like you know this. Should know this.
So Nexus ammunition, right? So Nexus makes a 77 grain 223 round.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and it's pretty friggin' awesome, and it hits really hard. So I've really been enjoying shooting that. So I get help on that arena when I was in Minnesota. A company called ORM Tech offered to supply my pistol ammunition going forward. So that's going to be...
That's huge.
Yeah, for sure. So that is kind of how I'm able to do that portion of it. You know, gasoline and food is based on mostly savings. There are apparel sales, T-shirts, right? Portion of that goes to the actual person that made the T-shirt, and portion goes to me.
Right. You don't make your own T-shirts, Dave?
No. Dude, people ask me all the time too, like, "Hey, do you have any T-shirts with you?" It's like, dude, I literally have everything I own with me. Like, where would I fit a rack of T-shirts?
You're like, yeah, what size do you want?
And
I'll just print it.
I know, and it's a good problem to have, right? But
right.
I was just in.
Well, people could think that maybe you have a couple with you.
Oh, and they totally do, right? But the match I was at most recently is Colorado, right? So it's all my friends from a long, long time, and so they started giving me a hard time. And then it's like every time I see them on the range, they pass by, they're like, you know, wave you down, stop. Hey, do you have any T-shirts on you? It's like, Corey, get away from me.
Be gone with you.
Go away, Corey Rose. But Twizzler. But the so there's that, and then recently started the Patreon group, which is cool. So Patreon's like a subscription service where individuals can contribute a set dollar amount on a monthly basis or on a per content basis, which I've chosen a monthly basis.
Right.
and I've set up different rewards for different levels. Like at the $1 level, you get a cool internet high five.
Bang.
Bam! And I send that immediately, by the way. And then at the $2 per month level, you get access to a private Facebook group that we have for Patreon users only, and the internet high five. And then at the $5 level, you get access to all bonus content immediately when it comes out, which is like the match recon episodes that you helped me do.
Yep. Is this going to be bonus content?
So this one's going to be a real episode.
Okay.
And then there are more bonus content coming. Should I tell you about that now or later?
Later.
Okay. Let's write that down because I forgot to put that down on the list of something I want to talk about.
All right.
Table that. There's a really cool thing coming I'll tell you about. But so then the next level, there's another reward. At the next level, there's another reward. And then I try to do like other things, just like unexpected things here and there, like getting your question answered first on the Q&A, right?
Right.
Getting to choose your
raffle number.
Yeah. On the raffle that we did. So there's a lot of rewards for supporting the show because I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
it's a one-to-one thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's someone saying like, "Hey, I like what you're doing. I believe in what you're doing, and we want to help you do it." It is. It's cool, right?
For real.
So the Patreon has you put in like goals of what you want to do, and like the first goal is like I want to have like all the shows like recurring expenses covered, like the hosting and email lists and media servers and stuff like that.
Right.
My second one, I want an editor.
Nice.
Yeah, I realized like how much time I spend like actually editing the podcast is time I could better be spending doing other things.
Sure. Well, it takes you way longer to edit it than it does to record it and set it up.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Jesus, it does. And so so part of that, Nathan, get the longest question out of the way right away. Part of that is when I have an editor, I'll be able to work on the building the business and making money portion of it first. So right now there's just a lot to do for one dude.
All right.
Do you think I adequately covered that question?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I like to talk.
Yeah, you do. You're pretty good at it. See, that one's kind of... Oh, let's see what's Becky Yackley have to say.
Oh, man.
Our old friend Becky. She says, here's my question for your podcast. Did winning the battle but losing the war in Minnesota help you focus on the next battle in Wyoming? There's a addendum here. Hence, to fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Wow.
Yeah.
Go Becky.
Well, so you know how like on Instagram they have those like models that have like the fit tee and they show them doing squats all the time and stuff.
Yeah.
And they always have like them posing suggestively with the Bible verse.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Becky's like our version of that, but she has like the best motivational quotes or the best like quotes that fit photos that she's taken on the range, and she always puts them on Instagram. And there's like someone doing a badass dump of a rifle while drawing their pistol,
right.
And then it has a quote like she just put down there underneath. So she either is one of the most well-read people I know, or she has like a quote of day toilet paper type thing. But that was a good dig. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
And the quote was like drove it in even deeper.
Yeah, but are you going to answer it?
Yeah, I will answer it. So let's back it up here. So for a little context, we were walking stages at Minnesota 3 Gun. And I was actually going to shoot that day as well because I was shooting with the ROs, and she's walking with the 2A Heritage Junior Campers.
Okay.
And there was one stage that had a ton of options on it, and there was a lot of back and forth, and it forced you to go to both sides of the stage multiple times, and it was like trying to figure out
the best way to do it.
Minimize movement, yeah. So she was going to do like a big pistol run. Because she says her rifle's too heavy and she has little girl arms and can't hold her rifle up for that long.
So okay.
Or she holds shoots her pistol better.
So
I can't remember which.
So it was an option thing, and
It was an
she was
option
going to go. She was going to go hard pistol.
Right. I'm starting to feel bad about giving her a hard time on this because I know she's not going to listen, but she brought it on.
That's right.
So,
Well, that's what she gets for asking you a question like this, and you get to answer on the air for as long as you want.
Right, exactly. I got the bully pulpit.
Totally.
So then she
She's going pistol heavy.
She's going pistol heavy. I'm going rifle. I'm like, no, the rifle's the way to go. You just, need to get stronger. If you can't hold your rifle up for an entire state. Yeah, of course. Well, of course, because you know how Becky is.
I know.
And and she had just got back from Russia. That whole Russian thing? Just get stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I told her, well, you should just get stronger if you can't hold your rifle up for an entire stage.
What's wrong with you?
Jeez. And so I kicked her ass on that stage because she said once I told her to get stronger and that she had a terrible plan, she went into super competitive Becky mode.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, well, this is the only stage that matters then. I'm like, okay,
all right,
I will kick your ass on this stage then. And then I did. And she won the match.
Well, I was going to say, but you lost the war.
She won the match. Well, come on.
But that was the war, really.
If you want me to tell you reasons, I will. I know they're going to sound like excuses in Becky's head, but let's just say, she said the only stage that matters, and I agreed. And then I mopped the floor with her several seconds. This also, for people that don't know this, goes back to Hard as Hell in December.
Mm-hmm.
Becky was at that match as well. She and I were shooting on different squads and largely different parts of the range. 9 stages. And after the first day, practice scores up, right? Because the match is run by the dude that owns practice score.
Right.
So after the first day, scores are up, and I'm scrolling through it, and I happen to be 2 spots in front of Becky.
Nice.
But we didn't shoot any of the same stages, so it doesn't even matter, right? So we shot three of 9 stages, didn't even shoot the same ones, but of course the screen captured it, and then the next day when I saw her, I pulled it up like I was looking at practice score, and I was like, hey, look, Becky, I'm beating you. and that snap, she was talking to someone and being sweet Becky, taking photos and coordinating, and I did that thing, and she snapped and went into Becky competitive mode.
Really?
Yeah, and she pulls out her phone. She's like, what stages have you shot? And she starts going to it. I'm like, whoa, Becky, I'm just kidding here. This is just a joke. And so she just
she's
started
ready to go stage for stage.
Oh, God, yeah. And so she started talking a little bit of trash right there and stuff, right? So then end of day 2 comes around, and now she's in the lead. So she screen captures it and puts it on Facebook with a little bit of rubbing in and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just go ahead and skip to the end, which is where I kicked her ass in the match. Right?
Right. Well,
So,
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I'm kind of I'm a gracious winner until you call me out on the Facebooks and start talking trash, and so I don't know. I'm totally just joking around here. It's been so much fun messing with Becky, and she's been so much fun to have. Give me shit back. It's kind of cool though. But
obviously, there's a lot of back and forth with it.
Yeah, totally, and it's all in good. It's all in good fun too. And it's usually hey, if I post this, do you think people will think I'm a dick? And she's like, yeah, do it. But the Wyoming governor's match is coming up.
She's going to be there
and
too.
The Ackleys are going to be there. So now she's already started the trash talking.
Yeah, I see that.
She's like, we'll settle this at the Wyoming governor's match. So
I have faith in you, Dave.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm behind you, bro.
Yeah, and I'm not above Carriganinger.
Nancy Carriganinger?
Mm-hmm.
Carriganinger?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Just saying.
I know a guy. This is a good one.
Love you, Becky.
What superstitions do you have as far as match day and or while you're shooting? And then he goes on, this is Scott Green. For example, I refuse to eat the morning of match day. I have a big dinner the night before and drink a lot of water, Pedialyte, and go to bed. I always put my left shoe and sock on first, listen to the same Pandora station on the way to the range. Wow, this guy's got a thing. Each magazine has a specific pouch in my bag it goes in every time. I can see on your belt, but bag. Before I shoot a stage, I touch the same necklace I haven't taken off since 2009. and also close my eyes and never watch the shooter directly ahead of me on the stage. Wow, Scott, you got some issues.
So if
That's a lot. It's a lot to keep in your head.
yeah, I mean, I have enough trouble remembering a stage plan, let alone all those superstitions.
Yeah. Well, I guess if it's habit, though, it's routine, right?
So if this was not the context of the Three Gun Show, and you just heard all that, what sport would you assume that was?
Football, probably.
Football? What's the most superstitious sport?
Oh, I don't know. Is there a thing?
Yeah, there is.
Is it like golf or something?
It's baseball.
Baseball? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they do that stupid backward hat thing. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to rally now.
And got to lick their lips and rub their eyebrows.
Yeah. And, yeah, that whole thing. So Scott's a former baseball player.
Oh, here we go. All right.
Yeah.
My apologies, Scott. You're normal, then.
Yeah. You're normal for your peer group.
You're normal for your tribe.
For the dudes you run with. But, so, I got to have Scott on sometime because he's got a super interesting story. And Scott's like a really great shooter, too. So you can, give him a hard time all you want for his superstitions and stuff. But
right.
At the end of the day, he, puts it down. So it's kind of hard. So superstitions, I don't have superstitions. I'm not a superstitious person.
I was going to say, I don't know you to be superstitious.
Yeah. But if you want to talk, habits and routines, then I can cover that. So
it's kind of same vein, I guess.
Yeah. So let's pivot a little bit and change it from superstitions to habits and routines. So it used to be that I would prepare all my ammunition and stuff like that the night before, and I'd stuff mags and stuff like that and get ready for the match. But now, because literally everything I own comes with me everywhere when I'm at a match, it's all in the truck. So as long as I have my truck, I have all the ammunition I need and stuff. So so I kind of got out of that, but I've been getting back into stuff and mags based on the walkthrough and that portion of the planning. So that's pretty much it. In the morning, I'm always I gotta have coffee, and I think that might be a superstition type thing. It's a ritual, I guess.
Yeah, but is that ritual as much as it is getting your cognitive ability up to speed? How do you feel if you don't have coffee?
I've actually had a few days where it's just I forgot to have coffee today.
Really? And you don't feel like this?
Nah.
Oh, man.
And I don't have caffeine headaches or anything.
Yeah, I don't get that either, but I feel off.
Yeah. I do enjoy the act of making coffee and then the act of drinking coffee. So basically it's just sitting and doing nothing in the morning. I guess is how you can say it.
Well, drinking coffee, that's something. That's doing something.
Well, that's something.
Sound like your mom. Oh, I'm proud of you, Dave. Yeah. You did something today. Yeah. Made coffee and you drank it.
Like Grandma. Well, that's something. Thanks, Grandma.
Well, ain't that something? That's pretty neat.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess before stages and stuff, I don't close my eyes and not watch the dude before me and stuff, but I definitely don't pay attention to the dude before me. I'm just getting my shit together. I don't talk when I'm either on deck or standing in the box to be up.
Yeah, getting in game mode.
Yeah, I guess I'm getting in game mode, but I don't get super intense about it. I just try to relax and then think about my program quite a bit. That's pretty much it. But the magazine in every pouch in your bag, that's kind of weird.
It's a little different.
Yeah, I don't have enough pouches.
So what I wonder about stuff like that, being that superstitious, is how did that happen? Okay,
baseball, dude.
Well, I know, but something that particular, all right, mag one was in bag in pouch one time I left it loose.
Oh,
and I blew a stage, so
dude,
that never happens again, right?
I'll ask Scott when I have him on the show. Scott,
yeah, and so it keeps building. One time I didn't do that. Yeah, and now I got to do that.
No, I got to do that because you know what happens if I don't do that.
One time I didn't wear my lucky underwear. You got your lucky underwear on, Scott?
Where's your necklace, Scott? How bad does your necklace smell? How much?
Well, he hasn't taken it off, so he washes it in the shower every day.
By the way, Scott Green, totally cool dude. Shot on a squad with him in Texas.
Yeah,
we went and had tacos afterwards, and they were Texas tacos. So it's brisket taco and pulled pork taco. It was amazing. Best tacos ever.
All right, Scott, we'll leave you alone.
Scott's a good dude. He's a little weird, but
weirder than hell, but great guy.
I thought he was normal. I mean, he appears normal until you hear about those superstitions. But
I don't even know the guy. I'm going to say he's somewhat normal.
he's pretty normal. He's a good dude.
All right, let's go.
Great shooter.
Let's go on to this guy, Steve Gabara. Gabara.
It's a
probably.
Colorado dude.
All right, Steve.
Also a patron. I didn't put that one at the top.
Oh,
Sorry.
you didn't?
Sorry,
Sorry,
Steve.
I'm glad I got it. You can thank me, Steve, because I picked your question. I hear about dry fire, and more dry fire in every episode from those who are good as to how they got so good. I get it. Have to put in the work. How do you make it not boring as hell, though? I ordered a laser system to see if that helps. But what other ideas do you pros have to make it less boring? And he threw in his tag there. He's at 3 Gun Steve.
3 Gun Steve. Oh, nice. Little promo.
Yeah,
Nice.
good
Well
job,
done.
buddy.
Somebody listen to episode 144. So that's a good question. When I hear lasers, I don't know which laser system he bought, but when I hear
Said
lasers,
he ordered it, so he might not even have it yet.
right. But where I'm going with this is, when you've dry fired with guns that shoot a laser, right, Wade?
Oh, I have not.
You have not?
No.
You only look at the laser.
Right.
It's weird because you're like, did I get where I'm supposed to go? Did I get where I'm supposed to go?
Oh, you're just
So-
watching the laser, I see.
Instead of your front sight.
Watching your impact.
Yes. And so that teaches you to watch your impact.
Mm-hmm.
At least it did for me when I was messing around with, I was just like casually playing with a SIRT pistol when I was at the We Like Shooting show.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself doing that. So I thought, gosh, this would be kind of a, maybe a detriment to what you're trying to accomplish. So I don't know about that. So making it fun, you have to throw movement in there, and you have to like have a lighthearted ability to do it. It's like when we lift weights and stuff. It's like if you're super serious about it and you're like banging your head on the bar and making your nose bleed and stuff, that doesn't end up being fun.
Yeah, exactly.
But when we do stupid things like see how far we can toss the kettlebells, that's fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's remembering that. For me, it's remembering that this is not only a sport, but it's a game, and we're in this to have fun. No one's going to make a seriously lucrative career on it, sadly. Mm-hmm. but the keep the fun in it, and I would say keep it simple too.
Yeah. Fun. Movement
For sure.
Yeah.
Because that makes anything fun, right? Wakes you up, gets your adrenaline going.
And I would say if you're in a spot that you can't move, side to side, like run, just do some burpees or some air squats or something. Mm-hmm. Get your heart rate up. Yeah,
because when you're holding your rifle and doing like target transitions on like some little dots on your wall or some eighth size IPSC targets on your wall, it's pretty easy. Mm. But at the end of like a 40-yard run, and you have to do that for targets that are scaled away, like on an actual stage, a little bit more difficult. Yeah, because then you're dealing with that, wobble, the figure eight or the infinity sign. Mm-hmm. And I think you're spot on, dude.
Chest.
You're spot on. Do some burpees and then pick that rifle up.
Yeah,
and
do 15 burpees and pick up and see how you can hold on that target. Next one.
And let us know how it works.
Darren Cepeda.
Cepeda.
Cepeda? Is that how he says it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm glad you know all these guys. Was there a suggestion / tip someone gave you that made you completely skeptical, but it worked great or was enlightening? On the range, in the podcast realm, on the road travel, nomad life, anything, all of those categories.
Man. So on the range, so this, I thought about this one because I saw Darren posted it. On the range, one of the things that I was skeptical on was the having a match buddy and how important that is, and a practice buddy. Mm-hmm. Because I think so my shooting buddy Bill, we went to like all the local matches and stuff together, and we did practice sessions and everything. And I think I ended up taking him for granted. And then being solo this whole time, it's like I would kill for someone else to drive right now.
Right.
And or just to like take an hour nap while someone else is still gaining 100 miles,
Or somebody to come up with a drill for you when you're at the range. And
Yeah, or I don't know, just like the sharing of vehicle, sharing of gasoline expense,
like
sharing of housing.
It's like having a racing buddy.
Yeah.
Like I've gone to races by myself. It's a total drag.
Yeah. Yeah, you just backed out of the Utah one.
Yeah, I don't want to go by myself.
I don't want to go by myself.
Yeah.
And when we mean racing, we mean obstacle racing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's definitely much more enjoyable with another person, and that's probably not where Darren thought that one was going, but that's one thing that I was kind of skeptical of, or I didn't really take as seriously, is because a lot of people say that and talk about the importance of it, but it absolutely is. It's just like a training partner in the gym, we've been lifting our butts off in the last 4 weeks that I've been here.
I don't lift as hard when you're not here.
Yeah, I don't lift as hard when you're not here. Seriously, when you were in Washington with your family, like I was like staring at the board, like I know I need to go deadlift right now. Wade's not here. Who am I going to tell funny shit to why he deadlifts?
Oh, hey, this is a question for me.
Oh, hang on. There's another one. Darren had a part B on that. Oh, the Nomad Life.
Oh, yeah. He said Nomad Life or anything else. Podcast even.
Podcast. Was I skeptical of? I guess I was really skeptical of Patreon because I was concerned.
Because we talked about it for a little bit.
We talked about it like last November.
Yeah.
My brother's been trying to encourage me to do it. Bruce Davidson even, told me I should do it. There's a couple other people that have said look, you need to do something. And I just feel weird about the NPR model of asking for donations, but after putting out 140 episodes, I've kind of felt like, okay, well, I've demonstrated value, and
right.
these folks definitely appreciate the value.
Well, I think a lot of people understand that iTunes doesn't pay you for your podcast. Nobody pays you.
I think also a lot of people don't understand that iTunes doesn't pay you.
No, they don't give you anything.
I've heard some interesting reports from the home front of oh yeah, Dave's killing it. Really?
That's news to me.
Yeah, cool.
Me, Dave?
Yeah, or another Dave we know. But on the traveling full-time nomad thing, I was told that I'd get sick of it. And I was like,
and you were skeptical of that.
Never get sick of it. I'm going to love this forever, that sort of thing. But you do definitely get road weary and having a place to stop for a while.
And I've thought about it, because when you were first talking about hitting the road, and I was all for it because, in my head I was envious in a way because I want to do that. The romance of the road. But then I also knew I know it's not going to be all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, there definitely is a romance to it, and then a lot of the matches are in the South or in the Midwest, and it's 1,000 degrees in the summertime, and you have to boondock in the Walmart on the way to a match. Mm-hmm. There's no plug-ins or anything, so you're sweating your butt off, and the dog's panting, and that sort of thing, and so that's the non-romantic part of it. The romantic part of it is just literally just driving around and
it's being
not actually
being your own man, right?
Yeah, being your own man, that's for sure. But the definitely wouldn't change my choice, but I may alter my choice going forward.
You have a different perspective on it now.
Yes,
for sure. After coming up on 2 years on the road.
For sure.
Josh Beatty has a quick question for me. Wade, how much is Pappy going for in Denver? Well, you can't find it in Denver, but I did go to a bourbon auction a few months ago with a guy from my work, and I want to say,
how was that?
Did I tell you that?
You told me you were going. I didn't hear how it was.
It was ridiculous. So, Pappy basically, there's a 15-year and
explain to people who don't know that word what Pappy is.
So Pappy Van Winkle. So Van Winkle Distillery. It's kind of defunct now. It's owned by Buffalo Trace, but they had some old stock. But all that aside, it's become kind of the hotness in bourbon, and it is good stuff for sure. At its retail price point, there's a 15-year, a 20-year, a 23-year, and the retail price point is about probably 90 to 100, 200, and maybe 300, going up the line. But they sell for the low end, the 15-year, 800 to at this auction. I think the bottle went for $1,200.
Oh my god!
For a $100 bottle of bourbon. The 23-year was the last bottle they auctioned off. I think it went for, what did it go for? $2,800 or something ridiculous like that.
Jeez.
So that's in Denver. But Josh, there's these amazing Facebook groups where people sell bourbon, and that's where you get the best deals. That's all I'm going to tell you. And he's got a follow-up for you.
That's pretty much where I got the idea for the Breda thing too.
Yeah.
The bourbon model.
Dave, how has the gypsy lifestyle changed your outlook on life? Short, long-term goals, definition of happiness, etc. Now you're a gypsy. You went from nomad to gypsy. I'm not sure if that's forward or backward.
Yeah. So gypsies are the ones that shortchange people, right?
Curse.
They curse, and then they do those. What are those called? The games they play at the cash register, and they're like, "Oh no, I gave you a 20, and well, let me give you a 10 and 2 5s, and then you give me that 20 back, and and it ends up like they just walk out with an extra bunch of money.
They walk out with a $50 bill, and they came out with a 5.
I forget. Yeah,
just give me my 50 back.
Exactly. I forgot. God, there's a name for that.
Is there a name for that specific kind?
Yeah, there is, and gypsies are known for it. Or I don't think we learned in business school that gypsies were known for it, but we learned that game. I don't know. But so yeah, I've been swindling a lot of kids for their money out on the road.
Shaking them down.
Yeah, perspective has absolutely changed for sure. I really, really value my freedom a lot. I was talking to a friend in the 3-gun space or the practical shooting or the shooting space who's an entrepreneur about some struggles that I was having in one area or the other. And, at the end of it, he was like, well, what do you think you're going to do? And I was like, I'm not going back to die in a cubicle.
Right.
Because I honestly felt like a caged animal that, was being neglected in a cage.
Ready to snap and start biting people.
Fling my poo at people as they walk by. They were just paper clips, but I pretended it was poo.
In my mind. I pulled them out of my back pocket. It was the same thing.
Oh, shit. Yeah. So that is like I am going to do anything I can not to go back to a cubicle job for sure. And that's not to say that there aren't great cubicle jobs out there. And, my tune may change depending on what happens in the future or other opportunities or something like that. But in my mind, I'm just picturing, when I picture cubicle job, I'm picturing like Fight Club and the situation that I was in.
So I want to kind of delve on this a little more because I like the last part he said. Has it changed your definition of happiness? Because I think happiness is kind of a strange word and gets thrown around a lot. Do you have a definition of happiness?
Yeah, it really is interesting because, like, by all, normative societal measures, I'm like way outside the norm,
right,
and bordering on illegal at some points. Like having an address and stuff is kind of weird, but. Uncle Sam wants you to have an address, man. I want you to pay them taxes. So I might have to edit that part out. That I probably shouldn't have said that. Happiness has definitely changed for sure. I would say that my desire to be alone has definitely changed. Like the volume. Because like when there's all kinds of people and chaos around, you just want to be alone. Mm-hmm. And when you're alone, you're like, I really go for some people right now.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because a lot of opportunities come up when you have flexible time, like I do.
Right.
And you can't share those opportunities with anyone because everyone else has to be at work. And so when I think of like, oh, you know what, we should do like a 3-day match, you know, and do it this day and this day and this day, and then we'll follow it up with like 3 days of training, or let's put the 3 days of training at the beginning, and then they can be prepared for the match. And someone will always say like, well, people can't get that much time off of work, and I'm like, well, why?
Oh yeah.
So that perspective has definitely changed, and that went away quick, which is kind of silly to think about. But the happiness for sure. The you know, with as much traveling as I've done, in the places that I have, my nutrition has not been really good. I've been eating very poorly. I've fallen into habits that I haven't had for 10 years, which is crazy to think about. So my health has suffered a little bit in that sort of thing. And as much value as I think I place on that, like I'm finding myself not pursuing that sort of lifestyle that I want to have.
Not making the sacrifices you need to have that.
Absolutely. Right. And so when you talk about happiness, like happiness is not, you know, a house in Littleton that's 5 feet away from the next house. Right. And, you know, a mortgage that's going to take you the rest of your life to pay off, and 2 $700 car payments. To me, that's not happiness. And, excuse me, for a long time, that hasn't been my definition of happiness. But, excuse me, happiness is definitely free time and doing, and not necessarily like leisure time, like doing nothing, but free time to do what I want to do. Like there definitely is a perception amongst a lot of people that I'm on like some sort of early retirement, and they think that I'm just cruising around and doing nothing and
hanging out by the swimming pool.
And part of it is because like if on a Tuesday I want to go hang out by a swimming pool, I definitely can, but that means I'm working Saturday. That means I'm working Sunday.
Right.
And because I don't like go punch a clock, then work, I'm doing air quotes for people listening, work has changed, right? So I work way more now than I ever have at any job for way less than I've ever made.
Right.
And I'm way happier than I've ever been. You know, like I've the last, well, not today, but 3 days prior to that, I spent most of the days sitting in a Starbucks and editing video and listening to hair bands in between editing the videos, you know? So when you're like have to listen, you listen to the video. When you don't have to listen, you're just cutting stuff. You listen to music, tune out all the people talking about their weird stuff that they're talking about. But that now is that, you know, that struggle and that toil, there's value in that. Like at the end of the day, I am producing something. I'm not just moving data from one screen to the next like I used to at my other job. And when I put something out, when I have like an idea of the quad loading thing that I did with, you know, giving Keith Garcia a hard time, you know, and then I put that up, like that investment of having that idea, driving out to the range, stopping my friend guys and my practice session. I don't know how to say guy and I without sounding weird. With stopping our practice session to set up the camera to do that silly thing, and, you know, taking 30 minutes to roll duct tape and stick shotgun shells on my shotgun.
Right.
And then just to watch people's, you know, laughter and
incredulity.
People calling me out. That's not real. No shit, Sherlock. And
they don't understand redshift or Doppler effect.
But that to me is happiness. Like that shit's cool, man.
Right.
Like the
making people happy.
Yeah.
That's happiness, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have like a giver personality, like seriously to a fault. It's a problem a lot of times. It's why I don't ask for a lot of stuff for me. I would rather see what I can do for the audience. You know, like how can we make this good for the audience rather than really good for Dave? Right. You know, so that part of it, and that's to go back to, you know, a question that I think it was Nathan asked, is like that's one of the reasons I started the podcast. Is I love doing stuff for other people. I selfishly wanted that information from Keith and Greg and
Right. You're scratching your own itch.
scratch my own itch, but
Yeah.
I knew that there was
Other people.
thousands of people out there like me, or at least I felt there was thousands of people out there like me that I could help and bring joy to, and I have. And holy crap, dude, there's dudes that there's dudes that I've met, Wade, that like kick my ass on the range, 40, 50 spots ahead of me at a major match.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end will come up and shake my hand and like, hey man, your podcast, I started listening to that when I first started shooting 3-gun, and everything I've learned is from your podcast. Thank you. You're like, really? Like, Jesus, I'm not listening well enough to these podcasts.
You need to do more listening, Dave. Less talking.
Yeah. Can you just write down those points that you took from these?
Yeah, let me know what you learned.
Yeah.
'Cause I'd like to condense
Can you
that.
summarize that?
This is kind of a quick one, but I think it's a good one. It's not really a question, but this is from Josh Lewinstra.
Yeah.
You know that guy?
I do know that guy. Kansas guy.
Dave, this doesn't necessarily need to be in the podcast.
Oh, crap. Too late. It is.
Dave, this doesn't necessarily need to be on the podcast. Will you be at Rocky Mountain 3-Gun this year? If yes, what is the possibility of you trying to get an interview with a couple by the name of Terry and Linda Ashton? Terry was the developer of the original Texas Star. We need to hear an interview with them since they have been in the shooting sports for a long time. I was fortunate enough to be on a squad with them last year and enjoyed hearing about their story of the Star. It would be also cool if you could interview more people that have been shooting 3-Gun for a very long time to get their perspective on how the sport has evolved. Keep up the good work. Can't wait to hear even more shows. Thanks.
No. Okay. Good idea. Next question. No, I won't be at Rocky Mountain 3-Gun this year, unfortunately. And I was joking to some buddies at the Colorado 3-Gun Championship. It's because they don't take electronic payment. They only have checks, or they only take checks. But that's just a joke. Like if I there's other circumstances, but if it was how much am I trying to say that? If I wanted to find a check, I would find a check.
Right.
So I was joking about that. So I don't want that to. They should get on practice score and accept digital payment, but I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But anyway, I won't be at that match, unfortunately. That's really cool that those people will be there. Originator of the Texas Star.
Yeah.
Getting perspective of people that have been in the sport for a long time. I absolutely agree. I love finding those folks. I rely on a lot of introductions to people like that because I can't and don't know everyone, and I don't know the contributions that people have made to the sport.
Mm-hmm.
But when people tell me, and I'm able to dig deeper, and it's a cool story, I really enjoy that aspect of it for sure. Like JP is a prime example because he's like super well known. John Paul from JP Rifles.
Mm-hmm.
I knew who he was for sure, and then we dug into his story, and it was just, I mean, there's so many layers there. It's just absolutely incredible. So yeah, that's a good example. There are people that have been shooting 3-Gun for a long time that I've been trying to run down but don't want to talk. A lot of folks undervalue their contribution to 3-Gun, and a lot of folks are from the old school, which is we don't talk about guns in public or guns where we're recorded and stuff like that.
Sure.
So there's different challenges there, but as I'm able to, I share your opinion there, Josh. I really like to talk to people that have contributed long before I got here.
All right. Here's a quick one from Lisa. Hi, Dave. I don't have a question, but please would you give a shout-out to the Campbell River 3-Gun section based in Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. There's a few of us listening to your show, and we think it's great, interesting, and informative. Hope you get lots of questions. Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, thanks, Lisa. So there we go. So big shout-out to Campbell River 3-Gun section that is based on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. That's really cool. So
yeah, that's what I thought.
I am continually surprised by international audience, people that listen internationally. Like there's people in South Africa that listen to the show, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
France, England, Finland. So cool. Need to do a world tour, Wade.
Yeah, you do. That should be one of your stretch goals on Patreon.
Yeah. Oh, dude, good one. So I'm gonna sell the trailer and buy. What kind of plane flies internationally? What was the one Amelia Earhart had? She almost made it, right?
Yeah, she came pretty close. You could probably get one of those cheap.
Like One Piece at a Time, like Johnny Cash. Oh, too soon? Was that too soon?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, Amelia Earhart
always going to be
family.
too soon. Okay.
Anyway, world tour though.
Yeah, world tour would be sweet. I'm going.
Okay. I need a co-pilot.
I'll pay my own way.
It's like, hey, Wade, you want to go to SHOT Show?
Go ahead, get yourself a ticket.
Yeah. Hey, I think I need to chip in on the house.
Get some grocery money. Here's one from Joshua Sigmund. Dave, I'm a new shooter and looking to eventually get into 3-gun. Currently, I don't have the necessary equipment to do so. I have an old Remington 870 shotgun. We all do, Josh. A completed lower for my AR and no pistol, as I had to sell my FNS 9 because of unexpected money problems. I'm a teacher, so my budget is very tight. Could you point me in the right direction of an upper you would suggest and a pistol that won't break the bank? Love the show. Thanks for your time, Josh.
An upper?
So he's going to run his 870, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
I ran my 500 first out of the gate. So an upper for the rifle.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go Armalite. Their complete uppers are super reasonably priced.
I was going to say,
through
yeah.
the 3-gun show. You saw the pricing on them, right?
Yeah.
They're ridiculous.
For out of the box, ready to go. You're not going to be able to beat that, probably.
Yeah, so they have the 13.5 and the 18-inch. If you live in Texas and your local match shoots to 500 yards every week or every month, then you might want to choose the 18-inch, but the 13.5-inch also does that. And then if you live in areas where there's like base stages, 13.5 inches money. But those things, I told you those are complete, right? They come with like the bolt carrier group, come with a Raptor charging handle.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Everything is all.
That's what I mean.
Assembled.
Out of the box,
like it is ready to rock.
Yeah.
Like you strap that on, all you have to do is adjust the gas block and the tunable muzzle brake to fit your shooting style, and you're ready to rock. So that's what I would do. And then if you need one, hit me up, Dave at 3gunshow.com. Definitely hook you up on that. Every time I tell someone I get a lot of people asking me about barrels. They're like, hey, how much is that 13.5-inch barrel? So I tell them what the barrel is and the upper,
mm-hmm.
because when they see the price on the upper, they just buy the upper.
Right.
It's crazy. So
awesome.
Because you can't do it. You can't replicate it yourself for less.
Right. Yeah, it'd be impossible.
Yeah.
What do you think about pistol?
Pistol. Oh, man, pistol's an interesting one.
If a guy doesn't have a pistol, because everybody usually has something,
everybody usually
right?
has a pistol, whether it's a good one or not. So the FNS 9 was, that was a good one to start with for sure. Mm-hmm. If you liked that, I would get it again. So if I were tomorrow with Dave's money going to buy a 3-gun pistol, and it was for racing, right? Mm-hmm. Here's what I would do. I'm glad you asked.
What would Dave do?
I'm glad you asked. So I thought about this one a lot. So I bought my Glock 34 when I turned 34, just because, mm-hmm. right? And I've shot a lot with that pistol. I shot like a lot of USPSA matches. I've shot a ton of 3-gun with it. And once I realized I'm not going to shoot any USPSA production, I started putting like magwell on it and trigger stuff and everything. And I spent so much freaking money like upgrading and modding that Glock 34, and it's still a Glock 34, that it was kind of frustrating. And then I sent it to Mod 1 Firearms in Kentucky, and he did like all the nice slide cuts mm-hmm. and the sniper gray, and now it's like a new car again, right?
Thing's wicked looking.
New car. Oh man, yeah, it's really cool. And I told him that I was really unhappy with the trigger. I was like, dude, there's much money I spent on this trigger, like it should be good. And Pike went over that. I don't know what the heck he did, because it's like voodoo to me, and he didn't tell me. But that trigger's way better than it was.
You going to bring that out tomorrow so I can shoot
Yeah.
it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll bring it out tomorrow. That trigger's way better than it was. Front cocking serrations, which I'm a big fan of. Sniper gray, which looks amazing. Yeah, I love that thing. If I were to start all over again and I had no Glock magazines, I had no Glock base pads, I had no Glock mag pouches, I had no Glock holster, so I wasn't married to the platform.
Right.
What I would do is I would buy a Rock Island Armory 1911 double stack 9mm.
Really?
And I think they call it the Tax something or other. It's basically a copy of the Para 1911.
Uh-huh.
Double stack 9mm. You can get base pads for them to where they'll hold like 22 or 23 rounds.
Well,
And I would send it to my buddies in Austin, Hayes Custom Guns. They build, custom 2011s, but they started dipping into modifying these Rock Island Armory 1911s. And Ben Hayes, cool dude.
oh, yeah.
Every time I walk in there, he puts something in my hands because he knows I'm going to take a picture of it, and it gets a ton of play on the Instagrams. So we, when I was there, he's like, "Oh, check this out!" And so it was one of those Rock Island 2011 or 1911s that and it's actually not a 2011 platform. A lot of people call them 2011, but it's a Para 1911.
It's like a pair ordnance style, right?
It's a Para Ordnance style versus the STI 2011 style,
Right,
STI,
right.
SVI, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he, and I only know that because Ben told me, but he had one of those. He's like, check this out. And then we went to the range and he had to test fire it. So I got to shoot it. And man, for the money that you would spend on all the Glock stuff that I have, you could do that pistol plus like 3 magazines. It comes with 2, but you could just go buy another magazine plus, base pads for all of them. And you'd be like ready to rock. And they have really good triggers because it's 1911 based.
Mm-hmm.
They're double stacked. The only thing for me is I cannot reach the magazine release. I have to hit it with my left elbow. It's that far away. My thumb just won't reach it. But Ben said they have some sort of extension that you can put back on them. But yeah, so great trigger. Hayes makes them greater, really good triggers. They'll cut front cocking serrations in them. They put their sweet ass logo in there, and do a reliability package to them. And then they'll go ahead and re-nitrate them and stuff.
Well, that's probably a good idea for Josh here because, the Rock Island stuff's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Out of the box, so he could shoot it.
Yeah.
Production style.
You could actually shoot it with no sort of upgrades. And granted, you're going to have a much heavier trigger, but it's still going to be a crisp trigger.
Still going to be a good trigger, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then when you're ready, you can send it in and get the mods on it.
Yeah, that's what I would do. That's absolutely what I would do because I think, I might have to look this up and then put an addendum in the show, but I want to say, without any Google near me or anything like that, the retail on those things is under $1,000. So under $1,000 with 2 magazines right out of the box, double stack 9mm. That's what I would do.
Good to go. Let's see. I think I got maybe one more here. Your other one reminded me of that guy was asking about USPSA.
Yeah. Read that one. I got that one in the IM, and I didn't have time to respond to it. Let's respond to everybody here.
All right, Gabe Allred.
Yeah, I met Gabe at the 2016 Three Gun Nation Nationals in Virginia, and he just came out to look.
Okay,
and just happened to start chatting with him.
He says, I have a question. I'm thinking about getting started in USPSA. Wonder if you have any experience in that. Maybe you did that before 3-gun. I don't know. I know you did.
I didn't.
You didn't do it before 3-gun?
No. Remember the...
was it congruent?
Remember we went to that Black Friday 3-gun match at my old range?
Yeah.
That was the very first match of any kind I went to.
Okay.
You're... I know where you're going with this. You're probably thinking I shot pistol matches at that range, right?
Yes.
I did not.
Oh,
because when I got that you remember I got that 1911.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh, this thing's so cool. And we went and shot and stuff. And I was like, I want to go shoot pistol matches. I called up the coordinator for the pistol match, and he was a total jerk.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And years later, I ended up being an instructor with him through a class, and I was just embarrassed the whole time, hiding in the corner, this guy is making everybody look like Looney Tunes. But anyway, so I called up. I was like, yeah, I want to shoot your pistol match. You're the coordinator on the thingy here. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And what do I need to bring? So he's like, you bring, I don't remember what he said, 3 magazines. You bring a magazine pouch. You bring a holster. Like, I got all that. He's like, good. Bring 50 rounds of ammunition a night. I'm like, okay, I can do that. He's like, what kind of pistol do you have? I was like, well, I got a Springfield 1911 45. And he's like, oh, you're one of those big dick motherfuckers. Only 45 caliber will do. Keep in mind, this is at work. I'm calling him from my work phone. Yeah, from my work phone to his work phone. And it's like, dude, I don't know if we're supposed to talk like this on work phones,
Well, yeah, in aerospace, I'm sure everything's listened to.
Yeah. The
defense contractors.
all the emails are monitored, right? Mm-hmm. So it used to be that all the phone calls are monitored. I don't know if they still are.
You used to chastise me for the shit I'd send in emails to you.
Yeah, I would respond very turt.
Yes. I would like to remind you, sir, that
this is my work email. Please do not send this kind of filth. And then I call you up and be like, that was really funny, dude. Good work. Yeah. So
So you called the guy.
So I called the guy, and he responded with that. And I was like, okay, well, this doesn't sound like the kind of thing that I'd be into if these are the kind of people that are there.
Oh, so you just didn't even go?
Never went.
Oh, I got you.
And so years later, it was like 2 years later, we did that 3-gun match. Mm-hmm. And then, no, it was like 3 years later we did that 3-gun match. And then by that time, that dude had left the position of running the Wednesday night match. It was a different dude, and he was totally cool. So through 3-gun, I met a guy named Ben Go.
Remember Ben?
Yeah, Ben's a great dude.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben is someone I would consider like an early mentor for me in shooting. And Ben recognized, or he at least told me that he may have been placating me, but who knows, that he told me that I had talent, but I needed to control it. So he recommended that I shoot USPSA production because I was out of control.
Just to get fundamentals down.
Well, yeah, you're limited to 10 rounds in your magazine.
Right.
So you have to make your shots count, plus your score is minor, so you have to make your shots count. So Ben ran a USPSA style match at our range on Friday night, and then I ended up going to other local USPSA matches here in Colorado, and then actually ended up shooting Mile High Showdown, which I took first place.
Oh, was it first?
Was it second place?
I think you had second.
I took second place.
I remember the plaque.
Second place, unclassified production, which means nothing whatsoever. You're the second new dude that came here. So
I remember I dug that trophy out of a bunch of your old crap.
That's right. Yeah, I took a picture of it and we threw it away. Only because I can't carry everything with me. But, so Ben recommended that I do USPSA production to get accuracy and fundamentals and stuff like that under control. And I did that for a long time. And I think that I have, like, some lasting effects of, like, it definitely slowed me down maybe too much. And, like, I'm afraid to take risks at this point and go a little faster. But definitely way more accurate than I would have been otherwise. And so that was a huge thing. So if you're thinking about shooting USPSA before you shoot 3-gun, absolutely do that. And then you will also learn safety in an environment that they're very, very by the book as far as safety goes.
Yeah, they keep it pretty tight.
That's invaluable. So yes, Gabe, do that.
How we doing on time here?
Doing good. People still with us. They'll listen to the whole thing, man.
All right, let's see.
It's just 2 commutes to work now instead of 1.
We only have a couple left, but some are kind of – one's kind of like the first, so maybe we'll save that for last.
Cool. We're like hour 10, so.
All right. What are the 3 best dry fire drills you do for each platform? Please also discuss benchmark times from John Holbrook.
Oh, I was hoping we'd skip that one.
All right, let's skip that one. The next one is –
Dude,
I know, I'm just teasing.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a tough one. That's why I saved it for the end.
Benchmark times are tough because my benchmark times are not the same as Greg Jordan's benchmark times, are not the same as Keith Garcia's benchmark times.
Or mine.
Yeah, and I definitely cannot load 8 as fast when I'm running down a dirt trail in Minnesota as fast as I can, standing in your garage.
Right.
Right. So I don't know about benchmark times. And so I've kind of gotten away from benchmark times a lot. And I focus on smoothly getting the rounds in the shotgun, smoothly getting the magazine in the shotgun, and not cheating the sights when you're transitioning targets and stuff like that. So,
what do you mean by cheating the sights?
Ooh, good question, Wade. Good question. So, if you let's make it real simple. You have a left target and a right target.
Mm-hmm.
So, the proper way to transition from the left target to the right target with your pistol, say that you're pointed out, your eyes are on that front sight, you just broke that shot.
Mm-hmm.
Your eyes move to the next target, your pistol moves to the next target, your eyes move from the target to the front sight, you side alignment, squeeze, break, bam, and repeat, right? And then you just do it faster.
Okay.
Right? That you do.
So that's not cheating it.
That's not cheating. That's the proper way.
Mm-hmm.
It's the proper way. So the cheating way would be just to, I'm going to put my hand down and try to describe this without.
Dave's holding his hand up showing me how he's pointing at something. But he's just pointing at something.
I'm actually air gunning at Wade right now.
Yeah, that's nice.
So the cheating your sights would be like we were talking about with the laser earlier. So cheating your sights would be you're not properly aligning the sights. You're looking for where that laser's striking.
Right.
You're, and in my example, you're bringing your pistol over as you bring your eyes over. You know, your eyes are supposed to lead, and the lead and follow times just shrink as you get better. Right. So the guys you see, you know, on the course of fire, just going rat-tat, rat-tat, rat-tat. They're not just pointing that general direction. Their eyes are moving, their pistol's moving. It's just happening really fast because they have so many repetitions, right? So cheating your sights means you're not getting proper sight alignment, you're not getting proper sight picture, you're not getting follow through. So the other thing would be like if you're working like transitions. It's cheating your sights when you draw your pistol, you put it on the target, you feel the click, and then you just drop the pistol and pick up your rifle without verifying that shot went off, without the follow through, right? Which is the classic trigger to the back, reciprocate, you know, trigger reset, pull the trigger again, slide reciprocates. So that is cheating your sights when you're doing it so fast that you're not verifying your hits with your eyeballs.
Right. So you're shooting and I gotcha.
And you're
shooting and dropping before you even know what you've shot.
Yes, and you're basically programming bad behavior.
Right.
So now when you're out on the course of fire, you're not calling your shots because you've taught yourself that you don't need to call your shots.
Right. So that's interesting because I know when you're shooting live and you get those shots, especially if it's on paper where you can't really see it.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, that feels bad. So
Mm-hmm.
you put another one. Like, so how do you work that into dry fire?
So you only accept perfect shots.
Okay.
So if you do pull one, right, which
you feel like you pull it dry.
Yeah, and that's what cheating your sights is too. Right. So if you pull it dry, then you take another shot. Or if you want to do it right, you stop and you reset the drill.
Okay.
And you only accept perfect practice.
Gotcha.
It's like if you're, if you're cleaning heavy and you're stuck in the bottom, you're not going to force it.
Right.
You're going to dump it.
Right.
And then you're going to maybe take 5 pounds off and start over. Right. So maybe next time you're going to reset that drill, you're going to run it a little bit slower. So you can run as fast as you want in dry fire if you're not looking at your sights.
Right.
Right. But you can only run as fast as you can see in live fire because now there's evidence, right? Did the target fall? So you need to bring that into your dry fire as well. So let's go 3 drills real quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your 3?
Load pistol, load shotgun, load rifle, transition pistol, transition shotgun, transition rifle.
You mean transition from one to another?
One target to another.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and then you just give me a third one. Transition all your guns.
All right.
There we go.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So that's very simplified John, but you can get as crazy and as creative as you want to, but you don't necessarily need to because it really is all fundamentals.
Right. I mean, those are the three things that you're going to have to
Yeah.
do every time.
Yeah. And, I might add another one.
Yeah, do another one.
So my
Bonus.
So I have a travel trailer. It's 20 foot long. It's not 20 foot long on the inside. The OML is 20 foot. So I have a bed and I have like a dinette. Under the dinette, excuse me, I've placed those 1-inch orange pasters that you put on targets.
Go on shooting seas or something?
Yeah, they're going
Yeah.
kind of like that, but they're a little bit different. And then I've got some of those red dots. I don't even know what the hell you use them for, like in an office environment.
Yeah, we have them too. I don't know.
Yeah,
what we're
like
using for
little
you.
yellow or whatever dots. So I've got some white ones and they're at the bottom of my dinette. So if I go all the way back to the bed, then I can lie down with my rifle on 1X, and now it's a tiny target, and it's scale far away, right? And so that's something I'll do for long range stuff. And I generally don't do burpees in the trailer just because it shakes the whole thing. And usually when I think about doing this, Parker's sleeping, so then it'd be a whole mess. But you could do burpees, you could do push-ups, you could do
something,
air squats and stuff like that, just to get your heart beating, and then get down in your living room or something like that and have dots far away. I just had Brian Payne on the show, and he was talking about doing dry fire for PRS.
Oh.
And he uses his like lazy boy chair as a rifle position, and he gets in reverse kneeling, and then he has a bag under his arm, and he gets all comfortable and breaks his shot, and then he gets into a different position. So you just got to be creative. And if you're not creative, find someone who is.
All right. This next one's from Jay Christensen.
I know that guy.
Have you ever interviewed someone and it was a fail and have no plans of ever airing it?
So I thought about this one.
Getting deep.
A lot. Can you think of one, Wade?
I'm trying to think.
I've got two in my head. One of them is me.
There's one of you that you don't want to air?
Yeah, we did like a post-game wrap-up, a SHOT Show.
Oh, God.
And then
that's my fault.
We ended up just getting like really drunk, and then
oh man, it was a shit show.
Well, we ended up just talking like shop the whole time, so I didn't think it would be too interesting for the audience.
I know it was like 3 hours long.
Yeah, and then I had to wake up in 45 minutes to take Mike to the airport.
Yeah, and I think I was getting all surly at the end.
So that was one of them. Another one. So there's never been anyone where. So there definitely are interviews that I'm more excited to share with the audience than others.
Sure.
However, my excitement never ever seems to translate to how well received download number wise or comment wise or anything that the
audience
that the audience likes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think from what I can tell, like a lot of people just like surf the names,
Sure.
and then download if they know the name. But I've interviewed so many amazing people and had so many amazing people on the show that you don't know, and there's a reason they're on the show.
Right.
I've turned down a lot of people, and I don't seek out people that I don't think would be a good fit. So when I have like someone you may not have heard of before on the show, there's a reason. So there's always gold in them too.
Right.
And whether it's an interesting story or it's like, the best dry fire drill you've ever heard, there's always great stuff. And some of them can just be funny travel stories, which is cool. So yeah, there is one episode that I have recorded. I keep thinking like I need to get back to that. I need to cut it up so I can air it because it was one of those that just turned a little bad.
Oh yeah,
just turned a little bad.
Just go
a little bit. It was like I said the F word a minute ago, right? When I was directly quoting that guy that made me not want to shoot practical shooting, but there is a line.
Oh,
right? We have like juniors.
Yeah.
So
you get a guy that talks like my boss. It sounds like.
Yeah, well, was more like 4 of us. I said us. Yeah, it was one of those like. Have you ever been at a barbecue when you're like, yeah, we should, Steve, go get your guitar and we'll all sing along. We'll have a sing along, And then like 2 hours later, people are still saying that, but there's been 2 hours of drinking going on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's kind of what this was. Like, I show up at a barbecue and it's like, Dave, you got your mics with you? I'm like, yeah, I do. It's like, yeah, well, we'll get them. We'll do a podcast. I'm like, all right. And then 2 hours later, it's like, go get your microphones. Go get them.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
Oh, man.
It was actually a lot of fun, but it was also one of those like, well, I don't know what we're going to do with this.
I think it goes on Patreon.
It's absolutely going to go on Patreon, by the way. It absolutely will. It won't make the main feed. I just need to go get permission from each of those 3 individuals. And I know I have permission from one of them because he's like, I ain't got nothing to hide. That's why I have to just ask 2 more people. Also, here's a fun thing that, speaking of Patreon, so I have 2 interviews that I did before I ever interviewed Greg Jordan. And Greg was number 1 on the podcast, right? So I did a practice interview with my shooting buddy Bill.
Uh-huh.
And then I did one with our buddy Sean.
Oh, yeah, Herc.
Yeah, and he has a pretty cool perspective because he shot 3-gun when he lived in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's done it in Wyoming. So these are my friends that did me a big favor of allowing themselves to be interviewed.
Oh, guinea pigged.
Under the agreement that it would never reach the light of day. So I could get some repetitions in. And so I could test my recording equipment. And so I could test, my questions and stuff like that. So if you thought I was nervous and it's funny sounding in episode 1 with Greg Jordan, you should hear these other 2. And I've since got permission from both of them, so those will end up on the Patreon as well.
Oh, okay. That'll be cool.
But I completely forgot about it until now, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, that's awesome. I think this is going to be the last question. This will be a good wrap.
All right.
This is from 3. JSJC3. You know that guy?
Yeah, I do. No, I'm kidding. I'm trying to remember where I got that one. Oh, it was probably an email.
Must be an email. JSJC3 says, how did you work up enough courage to throw everything to the wind and uproot your life and pursue an idea with 100% of your life?
That's a tough one.
It was a tough one. We kind of come full circle here.
Yeah, no kidding. Holy cow. So there was a lot of things that happened. So I had gone through, this is probably like a 3-year process, I think, or 2-year process. What year is this?
At least 2017, end of now.
Yeah, so it was a 2-year process. So I'd gone through a breakup with someone that was a huge part of my life for 3 years and cared a lot about it, and it was really hard. Then I lost 2 friends, one to a drug overdose, one to just random natural causes, as natural as they can be in your early 30s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then a pal of mine's wife got breast cancer and double mastectomy at 34 years old. And then your brother passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just one of those, like, there's so many things happening showing me that there's not anything guaranteed to you in life whatsoever.
Right. And,
I realized, like, actually it was, the actual bubble bursting was a conversation that you and I had. Is the why not now sort of thing. It's like, someday I would love to travel around all these matches and get all these interviews in person rather than doing them over Skype.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, why not now? And, couple all those events and then a couple other breakups after that. It was like, why not now?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Shit's not going well here. Let's do something different. So, and then of course, wasn't really happy at my job. So it was all those things, and it was But I guess the big answer is the brevity of life, and if you don't make anything of it, then it passes without knowing that you were even here.
Well, and as we talked about, I remember I said in 10 years you're going to wish you would have.
Mm-hmm.
10 years from now you're going to wish you would have taken that chance. So
yeah, no matter what happens, I'm not trying to test the universe because my truck did fall off a lift last week. But no matter what happens, I'm not going to look back in 10 years from May 5th, 2016 and think, wow, I wish I would have stayed at my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I hadn't taken that epic road trip with my... Well, where did the hell did the dog go?
Yeah, where did he go?
Just pointing at him. He's gone.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I lost a dog.
Barkus is like, I'm out.
Yeah. So, I'll never regret taking that epic trip with him. It was hard leaving my my friends and the familiarity of my home state.
Right. Sure.
Here. You're my best friend. It was very difficult to, now we're talking and texting on the phone and shit, and we don't ever get to go to the range together. Don't ever get to go sushi.
Right.
Rock climbing, obstacle racing was a huge part of our friendship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Traveling together and doing that. Had to take a step back from that. That was hard. There's a lot of sacrifices involved in it. But the friendships that I've made in 3-gun, in the firearms industry itself, in like-minded individuals who love freedom, who love doing things on their own, who are motivated as hell to do whatever it is, to make pistols, to modify shotguns, to build amazing stages, to bring up kids that are homeschooled in a rare life rather than sitting in like a school factory.
Right.
Mm-hmm. To meet those kind of people like that.
Doers. Absolute doers. Mm-hmm. That last summer and fall and winter was so valuable, so life-altering, so changing. Like, I'm a completely different person than I was at the onset of that. Mm-hmm. And, super grateful for the opportunity to do it. And when, my time comes, when I'm 135 years old. At least
with modern medicine.
My genetic makeup.
Yeah. Us Hartmans, we're a hardy stock. When my time comes, like, it's not going to be something I'm going to sit around and think like, God, I wish I hadn't done that.
Oh man, it's awesome. It's your legacy.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great. I'm glad to be part of it.
I'm glad to have you as part of it.
I think that's a pretty good way to wrap this up.
Yeah. Good times, man.
Yeah.
How are you going to wrap this up? Are you going to tell everyone to go to 3gunshow.com for show notes?
I would, and I would say this would be episode 4, and there'll be show notes there for everything you listen to. And
you know what? I think. Okay.
Go ahead.
It sounds really super self-serving, but I think people should join the Patreon because.
Yes, you should.
If you're into the show, and you want to give back, you can. The smallest thing you can do is $1 a month. And that's $12 a year. And that is 5 Starbucks Black Grande coffees, right? The cheapest thing that they have. And if you find value in shows like this, if you find value in all the people I've interviewed and the things I've done, I would love to have your support. And I promise I will give you more than you pay for it.
Yeah, you'll get to hear those. You might get to hear the drunk interview after SHOT Show. Maybe.
Yeah, it'll have an abrupt ending because it just went downhill real fast.
All of a sudden, the sound will just cut out.
Yeah.
It'll be like a horror movie.
Is that a fax machine?
No.
Yeah. All right, 3gunshow.com.
Episode something.
You'll figure it out. You're smart.
Yeah. Love you guys. So, Dave.
Wade.
We talked at the beginning of the show and then totally forgot, and now we're back. We may.
I would just like to say, this doesn't happen when I host the show.
That's some bullshit. Bonus content. We talked about some up-and-coming bonus content you're excited about.
I completely forgot to bring it back around, so I apologize for that. And I told you that, let's save that one for later. Meaning, let's save it for the end of the podcast, not afterwards.
I assumed it was when we were done with the podcast. We talked on the down low. So
so just as soon as we're done here, we hit stop, and you're like, hey, so tell me about that bonus content. I'm like, oh, crap, I forgot to talk about it. So, sorry, folks. Additional addendum here. So, the additional bonus content. You and I are big Tim Ferriss fans. Would you call yourself a Tim Ferriss fan?
I would say.
I would say, too. Like, we
listen to the podcast. I have the book. Well, I don't have all the books, but I have the ones that relate to me.
Yeah, so you've read The 4 Hour Work Week, which I read as well, which is what I'm trying to do right now. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily the 4-hour part, but the concepts in that book. Mm-hmm. The 4-Hour Body, I've read a bunch of stuff from there, like in articles and everything. I haven't read the entire thing. We are currently doing the 4-Hour Body diet, which is kind of cool. It's basically just like no simple carbs. And
then going crazy on Saturday, which is today.
Going crazy on Saturday, which is today, which is awesome. So he has a book called Tools of Titans.
Right.
And
which I have not read yet.
I bought it.
Okay.
So I'll give it to you when I'm done. It's going to be a while. I hope you're not in a hurry.
Well, it's a 700-page
700-page book, Jeez. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Tim Ferriss. He has a lot of great stuff out there. The Tools of Titans is based on his podcast, so a lot of it's a lot of redundant stuff, but it's kind of cool to be able to read it rather than just listen to it. Mm-hmm. One of the things that he has in there is questions that he's asked for sports performance. And I can't remember what episode that was on, but I remember listening to the podcast and thinking, like, man, these are really good questions. You know, one of them is like, who is good in your field that shouldn't be and why? Mm-hmm. You know, that sort of thing. And there's, I want to say it's only like 10 questions or something like that. But I read that and I thought, man, this is amazing. This would be like good bonus content for the podcast. Like we just do our normal interview and then take a break, take a 10, 15-minute break, come back and answer those questions. And I'm kind of thinking like I'll prime my guest with those questions so they know. Right. As always, I'll tell them like you can't read anything because it sounds terrible when you read and you're not used to it.
Sure.
So answer from the cuff, but here's the questions to get your mind jogged, right?
Right.
So I did a little test run with Adam Maxwell when I was in Minnesota.
Okay.
And those like 10 questions turned into like an hour and 10 minutes of show.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought, man, this is going to be like hardcore good content for it. And like I said, we'll get the regular interview in, and then we'll start doing that bonus content as well. So I have one queued up with Adam Maxwell that the patrons are going to be hearing soon. I just talked to Craig Outson. He's going to be at that Wyoming Governor's match. Mm-hmm. I told him about the concept. He's totally into it. He's like, send me the questions. We'll definitely do it. Plus, he has some more match stories to tell me.
Oh, no.
And I got to tell him about here's another good teaser. I got to tell him about the alleged hotel AD that happened.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. With me and Shooting Buddy Bill. So that's a little teaser there for you on that. You'll have to listen to the interview with Craig
Allegedly
Outson.
A teaser.
Allegedly. So that's what I meant about additional bonus content, interesting stuff. Q&A, but all the Qs are going to be different, but the A's will all be different, and we'll see.
Wait, the Qs are going to be the same.
Yes, my bad. Sorry, a little too much whatever we're drinking here.
Elmer T. Lee for my bourbon pal.
So all the Qs will be the same. All the A's will be different. And when it's all said and done and we've talked to everyone in the sport of three-gun, we can compare those answers and figure out what it takes to play the game. Common threads. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. And that's the idea of the Tim Ferriss podcast, right? So he does that quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And so I thought I would take a page from the Tim Ferriss book, literally in this case.
Literally ripped the page out of his book.
And it actually says in there, these are questions you should ask.
Nice.
So I said, well, I paid for this book, and he told me to, so I'm going to totally do it. So after we get a body work together, I'll send him a thank you note or something. But sweet. So that's the extra bonus content we're going to be doing.
All right. Well, once again, thanks for listening. I've been your host, Wade Jones, creative consultant, director of video, 3gunshow.com.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.